Hey everybody, welcome to episode 5 of It's a Kind of Quiz Teardown. Today we've got something a little bit different. So I'm going to look at a quiz by the wonderful Katherine Davidson, who is an amazing weight loss coach. Has a completely fresh and new approach to weight loss, not about diets. And I've worked with Katherine in my Quizzes Made Easy program. I actually do have 2 versions of the quiz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the first version and then through the second version. And what's really important to consider when you're doing a quiz is the power of testing, especially if you're using a platform like Interact. I'm not just pushing Interact, even though I'm an Interact consultant, but you can run multiple versions of your quiz. You can change it up. You can change the title. You can change different questions, especially if you can see when ones aren't working. So always, always, always test your quiz. Why not? It doesn't cost you anything, and you don't know what's going to work until you actually try it. That's what's happened with Katherine. Katherine's had a quiz running for a while. It wasn't working so well. We came back in and optimized it for her. And now she's getting much better results, particularly with her Facebook advertising. Now, that said, I've just had another quick look at Katherine's quiz, and there's still a lot that I think we can do to make it even better. So I'm going to share my screen without further ado. I'm really good at this. As anyone on my course knows, my Zoom skills are absolutely terrible. But hold on a second, I am going to share the quiz with you now. Okay, so here we go. So this is the first version of Katherine's quiz. What is your eating personality? I've got a lovely picture of Katherine on the front, albeit a gorgeous, lovely picture. I just don't particularly like pictures of yourself on the very, very front page, unless you are already very well known. Now, I do like pictures of you within a quiz because it's important that people know that it's your quiz while they're taking it. So there's ways you can drop it in throughout the quiz, but I recommended to Katherine that she did a different cover image. Also, there is a lot of information here. Now, a quiz needs to be easily consumable, light, bright, and breezy, and you need people to get started straight away. If you're giving them too much to read or do at the very beginning, what is going to happen is that people just won't even start your quiz. So you can run as many Facebook ads as you want to it. People will be like, oh, that's too much for me to take in. So I recommend on your front page, you keep it as light as possible. The other thing from this that I like, actually, you don't have to do it, but I've seen a few people do it, and I've done it for a few clients as well, is that if you see she's actually teasing what the results are. So Susie Snacker, Olivia Overeater, Wonder Willpower, or Sneaky Sophie, which I think works because it's kind of intriguing, or which one of those am I? Plus, it also gives you a bit of sense of fun about what this quiz is. You know, the tone and the style of this quiz is not just going to be a boring one. So let's get started. Okay, so this first question for me was always a little bit too complicated to start at the beginning. So I normally recommend you go in with a really simple starter question. I buy a snack for the drive home. The other thing which would be a little bit better, it's really good that it's tight language. Tight language sometimes means you can't get as much of your personality over, but as I said before, it just makes a quiz really, really easy to complete. For me, this doesn't quite flow. I buy a snack for the drive home. I love this glamorous pic. I think we maybe need an and, just so it can be a full completed sentence, but I'm being a little bit nitpicky here. But for me, just make sure that it just flows nicely between your question and each of your answers. I'm on the way home, running late, or just tired. This works a bit better. So, or you could say, so I go and cook a hole. I think these images are great, and they kind of make sense. Maybe a microwave, I don't know, maybe that one isn't quite right, but I think they're lovely images and they're interesting. However, for me, with this quiz, I do think we're a little heavy on the food imagery. And again, an average meal, for here I would put an average meal for me is blah, 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 and what the answers are. The answers are nicely written. I think the answers work really well because they're in the first person, something else I recommend. But yeah, again, it's mid-morning, I feel a bit hungry. We've got a lot of images of food. And then in the middle, we have an image that isn't food. So I talk about this a little bit too. I think it's best to make that your answers, images all kind of fit into one kind of theme. So as I said before, I think this quiz is a little heavy on food imagery. It's just kind of a little bit overwhelming. But within each question, I would prefer this to be kind of similar. So I would maybe look at using images of people here. I know it's hard. And the other option is to maybe not go quite so heavy on the image, because I think for the next one, yeah, again, we have an image one. So I think we could be a bit more fun. You could maybe have a GIF or a meme or something that's just a bit like somebody feeling guilty or whatever. I'm sure things like that exist, but just maybe just to kind of take away from a lot of the imagery being so heavily on food. But this is really never, occasionally, once in a while, usually and always. We have deviated here from only having 4 answers. Again, I'm super picky. So if I was taking this, you'd be you already know there's 4 results, and you've got to remember that your quiz takers are quite smart. So they'll start thinking, oh, which one am I? I don't know if you know yourself, but you start taking a quiz, and sometimes it's a little bit leading the witness, but you do sometimes feel that you know which answer is going to relate to each question. So when you suddenly have one that either has 1 more or 1 less, for me, it does slightly jar. And again, just on the imagery here, I think these images are gorgeous, don't get me wrong. But I would like more consistency here. So I think here would be a great opportunity to ditch some of the food imagery. So maybe the gummy bears and the strawberries could go and stick with the people. I think this picture's a little bit weird. That's just me, Catherine, I'm sorry. I think that one's just could do with a change as well. But yeah, very image heavy again. And then yay, we have Catherine again at the end. Now this is a question that I love. You'll see it used in, I've talked about it before, this idea of future pacing. So letting your quiz taker be put in a position where they can, what's the word I'm looking for? They can visualize what it's going to be like after they have worked with you. Now, I talked to Katherine about this, but this, I really can't picture it. To me, is a no-no. I think it's a negative. I think it's like kind of saying, look, way you've got the chance to, you know, reach your weight goal, bust through your limitations, blah, 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 blah. And then you're giving them the option to say they can't imagine that. So for me, I wouldn't have that one in. Okay, let's take a quick look at Catherine's results. And thank you, Katherine, for letting me do your teardown. So something I really like about Catherine's results, although we do have a little glitch here, and I don't know why it keeps giving us retake quiz. We need to look at that. But anyway, doesn't matter for now. So yeah, really nice, strong. So Katherine has hosted her results on her own page, which gives you a lot more, what's the word? A lot more scope for really nice design. So I've come out with Susie Snacker, and I really like the image there. And Katherine has used the format that I would teach again in Quizzes Made Easy, where you kind of give people a positive experience. So you're not telling them what they're doing wrong, but then you move into explaining what their problems might be, and then you position yourself to help. Now, what Katherine has done really brilliantly here, oh yes, and again, sorry, she used a really lovely quote. When a hunger pain happens, that's your body's way of saying it's too late, you're a fat storage machine now. So all those kind of little bits that you can add in make it a really fun experience. And what Katherine has done beautifully, and so, you know, with a weight loss coach, especially because she's had this incredible transformation, put it, you know, loud and proud as she has done on the results, because people want to see possible results. So for me in my quiz, I may have examples of a quiz with a big strong conversion funnel and one with a not so conversion funnel, not so strong, so like a before and after. But I highly recommend, where you can, you demonstrate the results of working with you right on your results pages. And yeah, and then the other thing I just wanted to talk about with Catherine's, and I really like this, it might not be right for everybody, but you'll know again yourself, you'll take a quiz and sometimes the result might not be quite right. And people, don't worry about that, because people take quiz results in the kind of, I always say this, in the kind of mindset, you know, you take a horoscope, so you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of right. This isn't a psychometric assessment. This is a kind of general overview and you know, a path to the next steps and a way for you to also segment your audience. But what Catherine's done, which I really like, is she's also given the option for the different results. So you can see here, oh, hang on, but I think I'm more like this. And then she's linked straight through to those as well. which maybe isn't working for me. My Wi-Fi is a nightmare today. There we go. So yeah, you can see what your other results are. And you can see as well from Katherine's that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, easy for me to say. With every result, what you can do is you can kind of have blocks that are different for each result. And then as you'll see here, blocks that are the same. So that is really, really good. Hold on a second. I'm just going to quickly look at the revised version for you. Let's talk through that. Okay, so this is the new cover page that Katherine's done, which I think is a lot stronger. Not saying that the image of her wasn't great, but this one is just it's just more accessible, really. What's your eating personality? I should have said before, I think is an excellent hook, because it's kind of saying that it's not necessarily about your actions, it's about the personality. And as we've talked about before, people want to know the most about one thing, themselves. What is their personality? What is their type? You know, which group or gang do they belong to? So it's a really good hook. And here you'll see Katherine has reduced down the subtitle. And then I'm just going to fly through this quickly. So a bit of an easier question to answer, I think. Good as well, sorry, just for segmentation reasons, it's really good for Katherine to get some data, some really cool data out of her quiz about what her audience looks like, and then she can send specific messages. This one is still here. I'd still take that mask image out and potentially just make those, as I said, those images a little bit more set is what I'm trying to say. You can do that in a number of ways. You can make them all people, you can make them all food, or you can make them all items. You can use different colorways, so they could all have like a reddish, bluish, greenish, whatever it is, tint and hue. That works really well. But I'm being picky here. It's just a design thing. I just think it looks nicer if they kind of all sit together. And that one is there as well. So again, I still think we're heavy on food imagery. I also think Katherine's missing a little bit of a trick here in terms of teaching a bit about what she does. And that can be really straightforward. It can be as simple as putting a short line in front of a question along the lines of, everyone is different in the way their body responds to food. Imagine, I don't know if it is, imagine that's one of Katherine's messaging. And then you then go in to ask the question. The purpose of that is that people are learning throughout the quiz and not just from the results. Here we are again. I'd like it. I want a GIF in here. I don't know how gify Katherine is. And there's the lovely picture we saw before, and it's much stronger here because by now you've got a little bit of a sense of her, or hopefully you have, and kind of, especially if we can up the messaging throughout the quiz in terms of what her core messages are, then it's nice to meet the person behind the quiz. And yeah, we have this kind of, what's going to happen if I work with you? And then I really can't picture, I want to be able to, I'd still struggle with that a bit more, but that is at least a little bit better. And yeah, we don't, oh yes, sorry, that's the other thing I was just going to say as well. I just noticed this. So enter your email to see your results is great, but I will also send you some custom weight loss tips I used to lose over 150 pounds, over 12 stone, incredible. That's really strong. That's a really strong call to action, because it's not only saying I'm going to send you the tips, it's saying I have done this, I have the proof. What would actually be really good, Katherine, is to even put in a and I'll show you the pics to prove it on the next page, because who wouldn't want to see that? So I think that is just another way that that could lift this quiz. So I've stopped my share. Hopefully that all made sense. Tell me what you think. I'll put the link to Katherine's quiz below so you can take it. Please go ahead and take it. And yeah, if you've got any feedback, anything else you think's worked or hasn't worked in that quiz. Also, do you have a quiz you want me to review? It can be yours. You're kind of getting a free optimization, or a quiz you've seen, you love, you hate, you think's a bit rubbish. I'm going to look to do one that's not one of my clients next. I have a couple of ideas. There's some really, really good stuff out there, actually, that we can all learn from. And I have said it to you before, best way to learn about how to do your quiz, take a million quizzes, look at them, put your analytical brain on, work out what they've done, reverse engineer it, and you'll be golden. Right, guys, happy May Fair Day for anybody watching who lives in Ballyclare, which I doubt very much. It's a big May Fair here today. So I am going to take my children down to grab an ice cream and a bit of a Jubilee tea. So lots of love, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.